And folks, it is time to talk a little hoop. That's why we do Hoop Scoop, and we bring in the experts. Jason Parkin.
Yes, we do. Great guys. And
who are they, by
the way? And they'll be joining us here in just in the meantime.
Tony Atzeni.
So what is going on high school-wise there, young man?
Well, it's state tournament run time. Last night, officially, the boys' state tournament runs began in classes 2A and 1A. Next week, the 4A and 3A fields will get underway. But the girls' state tournament into the regionals and regional semifinals. And following along with the top 10, I don't let them hide away after the season is over. I continue to update how the top 10 have fared. So you can follow me along on Facebook and Twitter for that. But some regional semifinals across 5A schools. We could get as many as 6 girls teams here from the CIML involved in Region 1. Ankeny Centennial will take on Fort Dodge. Ankeny Centennial, my number 3 team. Top-ranked Johnston will host Urbandale in Region 2. In Region 5, you have Dowling Catholic and Des Moines East. Region 6, Southeast Polk will take Ames on. And in Region 7, a couple of teams. Number 4, Indianola takes on Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln. And number 9, Valley takes on Des Moines Lincoln. And then in Region 8, Des Moines Roosevelt at 5th-rated Waukee. So a whole lot of area schools big time involved in making that Wells Fargo Arena trip, hopefully here in the central Iowa area. In 4A, you have number 1 Ballard and 7th-rated Pella involved in their regionals. In 3A, the defending state champs are the Cubs of Nevada. They're ranked number 3, but it should be interesting with Pocahontas area and a couple other schools involved in that one. In 2A, Van Meter at number 9, they're involved, along with Des Moines Christian and I-35 of Truo in their regionals. And in Class 1A, Grandview Christian at number 8 taking on Colonesco. So you could see a number of other schools in the smaller classes also making the trip. So it's big time right now in girls basketball. Of course, state wrestling going on at Wells Fargo Arena next week. For those who don't, bowling's part of the high school sports world over at Plaza Lanes in Des Moines.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, depending on your class, they will be bowling for state titles in both the girls and boys side. So a whole lot going on.
All right, we need to get the bowling champions in here. Bring the big. I'm sure they have the big trophies, don't they?
You have to go to Plaza Lanes on at least one of those 3 days before when it is packed to the gill.
Really?
And it's loud, constant cheering because every bowler and every lane's going, and everybody's cheering for everybody. There is no. You don't hear any boos in a bowling tournament.
So.
Yeah.
Nothing but cheering. It's a lot of fun.
Parkin, we got to take a camera and go over there.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said that, man.
No doubt. It's going to be a lot of fun. Go to CISN.tv to follow along with how my rankings and the teams are doing in the rankings, CISN.tv. And, of course, we get that show tomorrow morning from 8 to 10 on 1350 ESPN Radio. So we'll be talking a lot about wrestling. We'll be talking a lot about the girls and boys state basketball tournament. Join Ben Carroll and myself for that one on 1350 every Saturday morning from 8 to 10.
Did you get my Twitter message last Saturday?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay.
I appreciate that. It's good to know I had a listener last week.
You sound great.
Oh,
you really do. It's a fun show to listen to. It really is.
Thank you.
All right, Copman, what's happening in the next level up?
Well, it hasn't been a great week for Iowa teams.
Really?
I know, shocking. Shocking.
I think the paper had it best yesterday. What was the headline? Eek? was the headline?
Yeah.
But I don't get that concerned about, I don't read Twitter normally on a regular basis, which is probably a good thing after the Iowa-Penn State game, because I'm sure there were some people whining and what's going on with the Hawkeyes. I just kind of throw that one away, and I'll tell you why. Because I call these kind of the dog days. Iowa has had a very tough schedule, especially in the Big Ten. All right, they've had a couple of games they haven't played as well. They beat Minnesota the other night. Minnesota, by the way, beat Maryland last night.
Wow.
And then Penn State the other night up at State College. I don't think Iowa could get fired up for that game. Small crowd. And I think the other thing was that sometimes when you're used to playing top teams and you're playing a lower level team, I think psychologically you're a little down.
And you might inadvertently ratchet it down a little bit.
Exactly right. Peter Jock even said after, say, I think we played a little casual. It happens. It does happen. Peter had 28. I think Utah had 19. But the one thing Fran said, hey, everybody has to get involved. This can't become a two-person team.
I've never played casual and had 28 points. I've never had 28 points.
But, if it's going to happen, better have it happen now than it does in a couple weeks.
Hey, you know what? A couple of years ago, Connecticut won the NCAA title, and Tony and I were talking about this. They lost 10 games. They lost games right before the tournament started. So it's okay to lose a few games as long as you rally back from it and make this like a wake-up call. Don't just keep slugging your way around here.
When you lose, it builds character, right, Jason?
That's right.
Okay.
I've built so much character.
Oh, tell me about that.
We're all pretty used to that.
Tell me about that. But so anyway, so Iowa's off this weekend, and then they play Wisconsin next week on the 24th, and then we've got to go to Ohio State. They still have a game against Indiana coming up, and a game at Michigan. So they've got plenty of chances. They're fine.
The worry here was that they would lose the chance to maybe play in Des Moines because of
They
that.
won't. I'm going to name drop. We had Dick Vitale on the show yesterday.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, that's right. And we talked about that. They want Iowa to be in Des Moines because
no question.
it draws a crowd because they're sold out anyway. But they want Iowa here. So any way they can get them here, that's going to happen. I mean, unless the wheels come off, they're going to be in Des Moines. And I also think Kansas is going to be there. That'll draw a lot of people too.
You're not
That will draw a lot of people.
And am I right or wrong? Hasn't it already sold out?
Yes, it is already sold out.
It's already sold out. I just got to make the tickets that
But
much
you
more
want people
valuable.
right? And you want people to be there. It's not just sold out. Now we got to talk about Rachel's favorite team, Iowa State.
Of course,
because they're struggling too. They lost a game this week. They lost at Baylor in overtime. They've had 3 overtime losses on the road.
Now, before, when it ever got to that level, they would always come out on the other side.
Right,
of this,
right. What they would do, they would get stronger as the game goes on. They've squandered leads this year. George Niang the other night took 1 shot in the last 11 minutes.
Wow.
That can't happen. That cannot happen. Your best player, and Monte Morris is very good. George Niang is their guy. And they said this the other day. Says, no. George Niang's got to take shots. He has to take shots. And I think they'll make a more concerted effort. I'm concerned about that guy right there, Jameel McKay, because he's not doing very much after coming back from suspension. And the thing that concerned me, and again, we were talking about that earlier, he fouled out the other night, had a big smile on his face. I don't know too many coaches who would like to see a player who fouled out have a big smile on their face. I don't think that's a really good thing. So I don't know what that means. I'm not going to read too much into that. But, they do lack of depth a little bit. Only in the sense that if they get somebody in foul trouble or somebody else gets hurt, they're going to be even, they'll have less depth. That's the only thing. Because you could play with 6 or 7 guys.
Now, the other night, unfortunately, the beginning of the game was not seen nationally, so we missed the beginning of their game, and we had a new points leader now for Iowa State. A record was surpassed.
So. Oh, yes, George Niang.
Yeah,
he passed Fred Hoiberg.
He needed 4 points, and and from what we understand, those points were scored before it was shown around here. So that's
well, he's lucky that Hoiberg isn't the coach anymore because he probably would have had to run a lot of laps, and if you beat the coach's record, that gets you in trouble.
No, he would have been benched. He wouldn't have played.
All right. So what's next?
Well, we got to talk. Oh, for Iowa State, they've got to play TCU tomorrow at Hilton, and then they're at West Virginia Monday night. That's Huggy Bear. That'll be a tough one. Now, Drake is on the road. We're going to Bradley. It's nothing like spending your birthday in Peoria. It's a beautiful thing.
Happy birthday to you.
All of them would be working with Dolph because Paul Dorfman can't make the trip, so
cool.
Dolph's coming over. So we're going to do
take
that.
A quick jaunt over. That's
excellent. Come on over from Indiana. So and the Bulldogs have been struggling. They had a strange situation the other night. I'm going to try to explain this real quickly because there was a mistake on the lineup card. And when you turn in the lineup, once the officials approve it, you have to go with it. So the 2 7-footers were in at the same time at the beginning of the game. Olenicek was jumping center and Jacob Benevold. Cool. And they told Jacob so that they could get a dead ball and get Cale Abrahamson, who they wanted in the lineup. What they did was they told him as soon as Evansville gets the ball, commit an intentional foul. So what Jacob did was as soon as Evansville got the tip, he wrapped his arms around Miskovicius, their center, and stopped play, and then they got Cale in. And I'm sure the fans were like, "What was that?" But
that's the explanation.
Yeah.
So.
But unfortunately, Drake lost again. They're 6-21 in the Valley.
Wow.
But they're 1-14 in the Valley. But playing at Bradley is a chance to at least get a tie for 9th place, which doesn't sound like much, but you might. I think you'd rather be in the 8-9 game and play against number 2 in the tournament than in the 7-10 game and play against Wichita State. So, and then Northern Iowa, they're struggling. They lost to Loyola for the second time. They had won 6 in a row, and then they lost to Loyola, and they've got to go now. They play a couple home games. They play Illinois State and they play Indiana State at home. So UNI is 8-7 in the Valley, and they right now are in 5th place. They're probably going to be in that area, but they're also in a situation where the 8th place team is 6-9. So I mean, if they lose a few games, they're kind of somewhere between like 4th and 9th right now. So.
Okay.
We'll just
Oh,
have to
see what they can do then,
transpires.
too. They can turn on the wind switch anytime. You know that.
Yeah,
All right,
they're a strange thing to figure out.
your radio show.
1350 ESPN. This next week we're going to be on at 4 o'clock because there's an energy game. So we're on 1350 ESPN. It's normally 6 to 7 on Thursday nights. But next week again it'll be on 4 o'clock.
And on the same bat channel.
Yep, same bat channel tomorrow morning, every Saturday morning from 8 to 10, as we talk high school, college, and pro sports in a positive way, as we like to do every week.
There you go. Well done, gentlemen.